Pokemon Legends EA is right around the corner and it sees us returning to the Kalos region, home to the 6th generation of Pokemon. A group of Pokemon that I'm not very familiar with. So to become more accustomed with these guys, I decided to take on an insane challenge of beating a Pokemon Scarlet hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny Kalos Pokemon. On paper, this might just be one of the hardest challenges I've ever attempted in these games, as the Paldea Dex does not have a huge variety of Kalos Pokemon to choose from. To have any chance of beating this Nuzlocke, I'd need to get my hands on the Kalos starters. Luckily for me, Chespin, Fennekin, and Brokey collectively have the best shinies out of any of the starters. Despite how beautiful each one was, I still had a clear favourite though. Shiny Fennekin. I mean, look at it, it's just the perfect shiny in my opinion. To get not only shiny Fennekin, but all 3 shiny starters, I'll have to use the Masuda method. This method involves breeding 2 Pokemon of different languages to boost the odds of an egg being a shiny. This rate gets boosted to about 1 out of 683. So after hatching over 1000 Fennekin eggs, I was starting to get just a little bit upset. So upset in fact that I said screw it, and decided to play Shiny Starter Roulette. I put a Japanese male Chespin, Fennekin, and Brokey all together with an English Ditto named Dad. What this does is it gives each egg a random chance of being either one of the starters, making it just a tiny bit more exciting as I don't know which of the 3 will end up being the first shiny. And after hatching only 120 eggs using this method, I finally got my first Kalos shiny. Yes! 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 Sorry Ash, oh my god, I scared my cat, but yes, oh my god. It's the one I wanted to, oh my god. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, dude, I'll say it. Fennekin clears the Froakie line. My Masuda torture is far from over, as I still need to get 2 more starters. I mean, I could just start the run now, but that doesn't seem nearly as fun. I went back to the roulette method, but obviously with just Chespin and Froakie this time, and Masuda method tends to be a bit of a coin flip. It'll either be one of the fastest shinies you ever get, or the longest. Luckily, my next shiny was on the quick side. Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Little guy! Oh my god, can you hear the sirens? Oh, I hope you can't. I don't know, someone's dying. But in new life comes a shiny Chespin. I hope no one's dying. It's probably just someone stealing a car again. Who knows, man? But let's go. Shiny Chespin, he's so cute. Oh, I have so much to say about Chespin. I'll probably leave that to post-commentary, Brandon. But a Chespin by itself, so cute. Look at him. Oh, he's just a little guy. Oh, this was so quick too, maybe. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think. Oh, okay, sorry. I'll stop yapping. I'll let the video continue, maybe. I don't know. Oh my god. Let me take a screenshot again, send it to Waif and Lad. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, the Kalos shiny's actually kind of nuts. Alright, only Froakie left. And then there was only one. The frog. And I like the frog a lot, as I'm sure most of you do, but it really wasn't liking me. I hatched over 500 Froakies with no luck. But then I realized something. I was using 2 different language Froakies as it gives me more eggs and the odds are the same. But Dad the Ditto fathered my last 2 shinies and they were both relatively quick hunts. And once I introduced him, it was clear he was the missing link. Dad the Ditto and the Japanese Froakie popped off, giving us a shiny oh my god. Dad the Ditto and the Japanese Froakie popped off, giving us a shiny child in only another 80 eggs. All praise to Dad the Ditto. Oh, let's go! Yes! Oh, I can finally start the run. Let's go. Oh, he's so cute. Ah, he's a pain though, but he's a pain. But he's so cute. Okay. Whew. We did it. Alright. Yeah. This is always a shiny that I always think I have the shiny until I actually get it. Does that make sense? It's now time to officially meet my shiny starters. We have Trix the Fennekin, and look at her ears. Oh, she's so freaking cute. Not to be outdone is Cocoa Puffs the Chespin, another absolutely beautiful shiny and a certified little guy. And last but certainly not least is Milo the Froakie. His shiny color isn't as drastic as his half siblings, but he's still just as cute and will grow up to be a fan favorite shiny. If he, makes it that far, as my shinies can die in this run. Don't worry though, I'll be trying my absolute hardest to keep these three safe from all harm. With a powerful grass, fire, water core, my shinies easily clear their way through to the first gym leader. Katie uses bug types, so Trix was perfect for the job. Well, he did have the type advantage, but Ember is so weak that Trix can't even one-shot Nimble. But hey, good news, we get to see more of this adorable animation. I love the little jump he does before firing off her attack. He's just freaking so cute! Ember's weak power does make me nervous for Katie's ace, especially with Trix being just barely above half HP after taking down Tarantula. Katie's adorable yet intimidating bear enters the field, and even with a crit, Ember wasn't getting the one-hit KO, and Trix's adventure with us could come to an end before it even started. In a twisted turn of fate, I spent more time looking for Trix than I did getting to know him. And this loss will be a valuable lesson for not only this run, but life itself. Just because you spent time looking for something or someone doesn't mean you get to spend that same time with them. And we should all remind ourselves to not take these bonds and relationships for granted. Wait! Trix lived. With just 5 HP, what a beast. Alright, lesson unlearned. With Trix surviving with such low HP, he actually gets a boost to his fire type moves thanks to his Blaze ability. And with that boost, he's able to KO Teddiursa with a second Ember, winning us the first badge. And no lessons were learned at all. Let's go. Since Trix did solo Katie's whole team, he gets enough experience to evolve. And while it's sad to see my little guy become just a tiny little bit less little, he does evolve into quite possibly my favorite second stage starter shiny. I mean, he's beautiful. I'd go as far as to say that out of every Kalos shiny, Braixen is by far the best. Yes, it beats Greninja and Zygarde, and I will die on this hill. Trix does deserve a bit of a break, so it's time for Milo and Coco to show us what they can do. And they should have a pretty good matchup into the Stony Cliff Titan. Milo does take a lot of damage from the gigantic crab, but he is able to clip phase 1 with a couple of water pulses. But with its boosted stats in phase 2, I thought it was best to lead with the tankier Coco. And Cloth barely scratches him with a Vice Grip, and he can get passive healing every turn with Leech Seed. This plus its general reluctance to target Coco made the second phase a pretty stress-free battle. But with the XP from beating the Stony Cliff Titan, Coco levels up. And I need to quickly talk about the Chespin line. When I first played X and Y, I actually picked Chespin, but then it evolved into this. I've never restarted a save file so quickly before in my life, and then I ended up picking Froakie, and from then on, Quilladin has been one of my least favorite Pokemon of all time. But even a hater like me can admit that this shiny in Scarlet and Violet looks pretty damn clean. I think the added details onto its shell and face just make the Pokemon a tiny bit less awkward overall. So hey, Quilladin moves up my personal tier list. It does take Milo a little longer to catch up to his siblings, but he also evolves into his second stage Frogadier, who to be fair also looks pretty awkward, but he can get away with it more because, frog. With the team evolving to their second forms, we were more than ready to challenge Bryceus, and of course Trix was the main character in this fight. However, Ember is still his strongest attack, which is a bit depressing, so to bring some shine to our damage output, Trix sets up the sun. He is then put to sleep by Petalil's sleep powder, but Trix quickly wakes up and smokes both Petalil and Smoliv. leaving Brassius with his Ace Pseudo-Wudo. Thanks to the power from the sun, Ember is a 2-hit KO, but then it rips out the Rock Throw, which is super rare for this fight. Thankfully, it did just end up missing, and Trix claims the final KO with another Ember. Trix really be out here cheating death in these battles, like oh my god. She won't be able to cheat death for much longer though, as the next bosses are some of the toughest fights in the game. And for our team in particular, the Open Sky Titan is looking like a massive threat. But there is one Kalos Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet that could not only help us with the Sky Titan, but all 3 of the upcoming big battles. The only problem is actually seeing the shiny. Yes, the next team member was going to be a shiny Florges, but for that to happen, I'd need to find a shiny Flabebe, which might just be the worst hunt these games have to offer. On paper, the shiny is a pretty obvious one. I mean, the body changes from green to blue, and the eyes also turn into this bright blue color. The problem is, the only thing you can see from a distance is the flower, which is the only part of the Pokemon that doesn't change. And so I had to get not only my character as close to Flabebe as possible, but my own physical body as close to the screen as possible. Which looked like, well, this. Being stuck in this position for over 12 hours, for obvious reasons, caused my eyes to burn like nothing I've ever experienced. The only time I felt pain to this measure was when I got chemist grade shampoo in my eyes and I didn't want to wash it out with water because I was scared of the water getting in my eyes. Yeah, I wasn't very smart a week ago. This then turned into a mind-splitting headache, and with my posture, my back also started to hurt. I fear shiny hunting might be a young person's sport after all. Well, in the end, it was all worth it. I think anyway, I don't know, I felt pretty bad. I felt pretty bad the night after. Anyway, it's the shiny, it's the shiny. Oh, I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it. Oh my god. Oh, right, I'm not delusional. No, that's shiny, let's go. Oh my. Why isn't my... Hello? No. Why can't I throw my thing? Hang on. I run into it? What the... I couldn't throw my Pokeball. Oh my god. Oh, I've never... Oh. Why couldn't I throw my Pokeball? I don't know. Anyway, we did it. It's really hard to see right now. I'll catch it and then we'll go from there, I think, right? Let me just Great Ball it. Oh my god, finally. Please tell me I was recording, actually. Oh my god, I was scared. Yes! Yes! That might have been the worst hunt on the channel. I don't think you understand. I'm like... My eyes are burning. Oh, we got it in a bad color though. Dare I say I'd rather like white flower or blue flower, but hey. It's fine. Look, we got it. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Alright, let's get a better look at this thing. No. Rice Bubbles might not look very strong right now, and that's because, well, she isn't. Though it doesn't take her very long to come online. At level 19, she evolves into Floette, and then with a shiny stone, she quickly evolves into her final form. And shiny Florges is stunning. I'm pretty sure I've never used a Florges before, nor seen a shiny one. So I'm pretty excited to see what Rice Bubbles can do, especially against the upcoming 3 monsters. First up is probably the spookiest out of the 3, the Sky Titan. And I feel pretty validated in my fear when Pluck almost brings Rice Bubbles down to half HP, and her Moonblast is just shy of triggering phase 2. You can't heal between phases for this Titan, so I need to keep Bubbles as healthy as possible, so I send in Milo. He is forced to tank an uncomfortable Pluck on the switch, but a protein boosted quick attack is able to defeat phase 1. As mentioned before, you can't heal between phases, so Rice Bubbles comes in with a pretty chunked HP bar, which gets lowered even further with another Pluck. She does retaliate with a Moonblast, bringing the Titan low, but of course Nacli just sets up Rock Polish. I suffered way too much to find Bubbles, so I switch her out for Tricks, and my heart did stop for a second when I saw it went for Rock Throw. But then I immediately calmed down since it targeted Nacli, and then my heart rate increased again, this time due to anger, as Nacli uses Rock Polish instead of attacking. Oh my lord. Nacli does finally attack on the next turn and brings the Titan low enough for Tricks to finish it off with an Ember, defeating a very tough Titan with 0 deaths. But that could have been so much easier if Nacli just used Smackdown twice. But this Nacli in particular, it does this to me every time. It gets me so angry. Anyway, it's fine. To be honest, compared to the killer bird, Giacomo looks more like a baby pigeon. And like a baby pigeon, he's easy to put down. Jesus, that sounded so much less morbid in my head. Anyway, Tricks murks his Pawnyard with a couple of embers, sending in his Starmobile. But Rice Bubble wools it so hard that it almost seems unfair. But in many ways, Giacomo isn't even using a Pokemon, so he cheated first. Well, while taking barely any damage, Bubbles is able to finish the battle with a couple of Moonblasts. And that was probably the easiest battle of the run. But Iono wasn't going to be as simple. Nemona on the other hand was as straightforward as battles come, with Coco just pressing Seed Bomb on all of her Pokemon until he eventually won the battle. There is now nothing in the way of us challenging Iono, and I know I said before that she wouldn't be as simple, but by no means did I mean to insinuate that she'd be difficult, as my team is actually pretty well equipped to take on her electric types. Trix starts the fight off strong with her newly learnt Flamethrower, which is more than enough to one-shot Iono's Watch Rule. She then sends in her Belly Bolt next, but Coco resists both of its attacks, so he's able to set up a Leech Seed and then slowly take down the frog-shaped tank. Much like Belly Bolt, Luxio just doesn't have any tools to take on Coco, so even with his attack lowered, pops the Luxio. See what I did there? See what I did? Yeah. Yeah, you saw it. You liked it. You liked it, don't lie. This leaves Iono with her Ace Miss Magius. Now, its only scary stat is its special attack, which makes Rice Bubbles the perfect counter, as she has insane special defense. This combined with 2 special attack drops from Moonblast made this an easy 1v1, with Rice Bubbles claiming the KO with a 3rd Moonblast, earning us the 3rd gym badge. Iono's defeat brings an end to the terrible 3 and brings us to the easy essays. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any alliteration. I can't read or spell well, I'm sorry. Anyway, my point is the next 3 battles are some of the easiest battles in the franchise. Phase 1 Orthworm gets one-shot by Tricks, and Phase 2 was just as easy, taking only 1 extra attack to take it down. Mela was then next on my list, but with Rain Dance, Milo sweeps away her team with a couple of serves. During these easy battles, I was Masuda hunting for some secret team members, as the fight after Kofu was looking straight up impossible with my current team. And in between Mela and Kofu, I did find a shiny, it just wasn't quite what I was looking for. Oh! Little Skiddo! Hello! God, there's so many of you. Hello. Ignore all that in my party. Okay, that's for a future shiny. Look at it! Oh, you're so freaking cute. Oh, thank God I was having such a bad day today. this actually helps. Oats the Skiddo did come at a pretty great time, as the next gym leader is Kofu and he uses water types. And with my now 2 grass type shinies, it should be an even easier battle. Of course though, while Oats is adorable as hell, he isn't really the strongest Pokemon around. And this is evident when Kofu's Veluza absolutely chunks him first turn with a pluck. And even with the Miracle Seed, Seed Bomb fails to OHKO. So Oats' time on the field was short-lived, and I am forced to bring in Milo, who finishes off the fish with a Retaliate. Kofu then sends in his Wugtrio, and Milo gets off some cheeky chip before switching into his big brother Coco Pops, and I'll be honest, Headbutt is doing a lot more damage than I thought. But thankfully, it only takes 1 Seed Bomb to take it down. leaving Kofu with his Crabominable. And Seed Bomb isn't able to get the one shot, and Slam does a massive damage to Coco Pops, but it's not enough to pop his Coco, so with one more Seed Bomb, we've claimed the 4th gym badge. It's Atticus time. Long-time viewers will know that I tend to have a bit of a mental decline when it comes to the battle against Atticus, and over the last few videos, this depression was pretty unjustified. This run, however, I have every right to be scared, as most of my tanks are weak to poison, and the other two are just so squishy. Though I did have a plan to beat this battle with Milo, but just in case he couldn't clutch up, I did end up shiny hunting for a backup plan. Well, actually I was hunting for 2 backup plans, but I'll get into that more a bit later, as my first shiny came after only 100 eggs. Oh! Let's go! Wait, that was so quick. Oh my god. See what I mean when like Masuda hunts a coin flip? Dude, and you know what's crazy? I was watching Sir Toasty Toe's new video. And he just hatched a Scyther as I hatched a Zinke. Oh my lord. Look at him, he's beautiful. Inkay has an incredibly interesting evolution method, so let me pass you back over to Live BP as he shows you how to evolve the little squid. Okay, listen to my Switch go. It's Switch 2 by the way, it's getting cooked. Anyway, to evolve Inkay, it's a little bit different. I gotta see, so here he is. It's hard to see with the glare, but I'm not closing my window because I need sun. So you see this guy here, I got my rare candy on it. You gotta flip it over, upside down, make sure any like Pro Controller or like extra Joy-Cons are disconnected, otherwise this won't work for whatever reason. You put him upside down, and then he starts evolving. He's an upside down little guy. And bam! Honeynut was one of the fastest hunts so far, but my second target was an Esper, and it just wasn't nearly as kind. And after about 4 hours, I did find a shiny. It just wasn't from an egg. Wait. Is this shiny Ghastly? Oh, so ignore my dog, sorry. I don't know what she's barking at. Oh my god, it's a random shiny Ghastly. Hello. Okay, well, that's an awesome shiny, but we can't use it since Ghastly is a Generation 1 Pokemon. Thankfully though, the next shiny would be from Kalos. It just still wasn't my target. Oh. Wait, that's not my fletchling. It certainly works though. Come here, little buddy. Alright. I was gonna do an outbreak for this, but I got lazy and I was like, I'll just run around and see what happens. And now I'm kind of glad I did. Easy. And you wouldn't believe it, but it happened again. What's going on? Oh my god, I almost walked past it, man. Oh my gosh, hello buddy. Hello, I almost walked past you. Hey! I was watching my silly little YouTube video. Oh, let's go. Alright, cool. Well, after about like 16 hours, I did end up with at least 2 more shiny team members, and at this point, I'm pretty sick of hatching eggs. So I decided to give up on shiny Esper, which would have deadly consequences. Or maybe Milo can clutch it up. I don't know, let's find out. For this run, I haven't been using any setup moves, but that changes in the battle against Atticus, and only for the battle against Atticus, because I couldn't really figure out another way to beat him otherwise. So, let's just get into it. I obviously lead with Milo, the star of the show, and the first thing he does is set up a layer of Toxic Spikes. Which might seem weird as Toxic Spikes doesn't work on poison types, and yeah, it doesn't. I did this so Milo would change his type to poison with his Protean ability. This in turn makes Milo immune to Skunktank's Toxic, and it baits it into using Sucker Punch. This allows Milo to set up to max attack with Swords Dance, and then with this max attack, he's able to dig through Skuntank, Revavroom, and Muck, quickly leaving Atticus with his monster truck. And this is where the problem begins. It gets pretty bad. His car outspeeds Milo and hits a nasty spin out. This does at least lower his speed, but since Dig is a 2-turn move, after Milo comes out of the ground and does massive damage, the Starmobile is able to boost its speed again with Flame Charge, which also puts Milo in range for another spin out to kill him. So I'm forced to switch into Honey Knight. Nox's Talk does crazy damage, and Honey's Psycho Cut does, well, not crazy damage. It does leave him with red HP, but I'm forced to switch once again, so I send in Chex the Vivian. And Chex, somehow, doesn't even get a single hit in and dies to 2 Nox's Talks. Well, maybe the other new member can, and he's dead. Pebbles is dead. At least he got 1 hit in and gives Trix a free switch, allowing him to put down the Starmobile. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I hate Atticus. Pebbles and Chex weren't main team members or anything, but we don't know what their future held. I mean, Pebbles could have been a real asset in the late game, and Chex... Well, Chex was adorable, you know, enough said. Chex and Pebbles sacrificed their lives for this run to go on, and because of that sacrifice, we get to see our shiny starters evolve into their final forms. Starting with Trix, and I hate to say it, but this is just a massive downgrade. I don't know why I love the other two so much, but kind of feel, I don't know, like, whatever about Delphox. Thankfully, the shiny color still looks great, I just wish Delphox as a whole looked a bit cooler. Next to evolve is Cocoa Pops, and Shiny Chestnut looks amazing in these games. The extra details really complete this Pokemon, though I do wish it kept more of the reddish brown coloring throughout its whole shell. And last but not least is Milo, who evolves into the beautiful shiny Greninja. This is a fan favorite shiny, and I think we can all see why. It's just such a drastic improvement from Froakie's and Froggadia's shiny, and the black just looks so clean. With our main players all fully evolved, I was more than ready to take on Larry. And with Cocoa Pops' new fighting typing, he seemed like the perfect answer for this battle. And on turn 1, Larry's Kamola lives a Drain Punch with like barely any HP to spare, and so it's able to make Coco drowsy, forcing me to switch into Rice Bubbles to avoid the sleep, and Bubbles gets wrecked by a slam on the switch. She is able to outspeed it next turn and finish it off with a Moonblast, but now Larry is sending in his Dunsparce, so it's right back into Coco, and this was looking like a free KO. But then Dunsparce lands a Glare, paralyzing poor Coco, cutting his speed. And then of course, he failed to move on the next turn due to a full paralysis. Coco can finally get the KO, albeit with less HP than I would have liked, as Larry's Ace Staraptor does have Aerial Ace, a 4-time super effective move against Coco. So Coco uses Spiky Shield to protect himself from the incoming attack, while also doing some cheeky chip damage before switching out for Trix, and Aerial Ace does insane damage. But I have no safe switch-ins, so Trix is forced to stay in, and Staraptor whips out the Terra boosted Facade, and Trix barely hangs on with just 4 HP to spare, and Flamethrower leaves the bird on legit 1 HP. We were so close. I do end up switching into Milo, who thankfully dodges a fatal crit before finishing off the battle with a Surf, earning us a surprisingly scary 5th gym badge. After a couple of kind of stressful battles, this felt like the perfect time to take a bit of a break from battling and go on another shiny hunt. And my next target was a Pokemon I used for the first time only recently, and I was really impressed with both its shiny and overall power. My next target was Litleo, and it really didn't take long at all for this guy to pop up. Oh! Hey little guy! What's up? Just walking around here? Hello! Alright, epic. I quickly evolve Weakbeaks into Pyroar, and girl, she is slaying. Look at how beautiful this shiny is. With Weakbeaks fully evolved, it was time for our first battle against Rhyme. This is a double battle, so Trix fights alongside her. With his psychic typing, I know Trix is baiting Sucker Punch from Bayonet, but he can dodge said Sucker Punch by setting up a Sunny Day, boosting Weakbeak's fire type attacks. She doesn't take full advantage of this boost on this turn, she just uses Flamethrower to break Mimikyu's disguise. On the next turn however, she uses the Sun Boost to one-shot Bayonet, bringing in Rhyme's Houndstone. And now that Trix is no longer under threat from Sucker Punch, she can go on the attack as well, and she one-shots Mimikyu. Sadly though, Houndstone is a bit bulkier and survives a Flamethrower from Weakbeaks, and it vanishes into the void. And then Rhyme sends in her Ace Toxtricity. Trix is getting pretty low, so I send in Milo, and Wheat gets some great chip off onto Tox, as Milo tanks both attacks at the end of the turn, but he's able to shake them off pretty well with his dark typing. Milo then retaliates with a Night Slash to finish off Toxtricity, and Flamethrower from Weakbeaks melts Houndstone, winning us the 6th badge. We are super close to finishing up the gym challenge, but before I take on Tulip, I wanted to deal with the Titan in Asado Desert, and this ended up being super easy. Like, if I would just be like really honest for a second. I mean, Cocoa Pops just didn't take any damage from the Great Tusk, and a few C-bombs put it to rest. Epic. Good job, Cocoa Pops. You did good, buddy. I'm proud of you. With the Quake Titan defeated, we're now quickly challenging the second last gym leader of the run, Tulip, the Psychic type Master. Milo is able to dispatch her Farigarath in a single attack, but to counter poor Milo, Tulip sends in her Fairy type Gardevoir. So he U-turns into Rice Bubble, and she barely takes any damage from Gardevoir's attacks, and she's safely able to get the KO with a few Moonblasts. I do want to keep Rice Bubbles relatively healthy, so I send in Honey Nut, and even after getting hit with a nasty crit from Asprathra, he's able to take it down with a couple of Night Slashes, leaving Tulip with her Ace Florges. And as we all know, this Pokemon can be a bit of a menace, so I have to play this as smart as possible. Honey Nut is immune to Psychic type moves, so I know it's going to use Moonblast. Knowing this, I switch into Weakbeaks, who resists the attack, which then in turn should bait Psychic, so I freely switch into Milo as he's immune to the attack. I wasn't 100% sure if Night Slash would one-shot here, so Milo, just to be safe, U-turns into Trix, who resists the Moonblast, and Milo's U-turn did insane damage, so it was easy enough for Trix to finish off the battle. And just like that, we're on to the final gym leader of the run, and our team is actually pretty solid for this fight. So solid in fact, that Trix one-shots Grusha's Frostmoth and Beartick like it's nothing. His Titan however has the Thick Fat ability, lowering Flamethrower's power, allowing it to comfortably survive, and it fires back with a disgustingly strong liquidation. Thankfully, Trix does outspeed, so she can finish it off with one more Flamethrower, leaving Grusha with his Ace Altaria. And I won't lie, I was pretty confident that Trix would one-shot here, but Altaria survives with red HP and lands a raw Hurricane. Luckily though, Trix does survive and doesn't get confused, so he's free to fire off another Flamethrower, winning us the final badge of the run. To prepare for the pre-Elite Four challenges, I dug deep back into the boxes to bring out Oat the Goat, so I can evolve him into an even bigger, not cuter, just bigger goat. Oats alone wasn't enough to be prepared, so I decided to go on the hunt for an interesting Generation 6 shiny that no one ever mentions. To be fair, the Pokemon itself barely gets any attention, but hey, maybe I could change that, I don't know. My target was Scarlet, and I won't lie, its base form as well, it's just kind of okay. I mean, I didn't even notice it straight away when I found it. Oh wait, is this shiny? Oh, I think it is. I was just, oh, sick, I was just checking the levels. Man, yeah, everything goes so far out. It's... yeah, cool. Oh, it works. Oh, man. So yeah, I wasn't crazy impressed with Nestle until it evolved into Dragalge. And this is a sick shiny. The green on its head making it look more like algae is so cool. And even the blue looks better with its increased quantity. So very quick shiny rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Hopefully though, Nestle will be a 10 out of 10 counter to Ortega. Unfortunately, I accidentally led the battle with Oats, but it wasn't the worst matchup in the world as Azumarill is a water type, so a couple of Horn Leeches does take it down without any headaches. The problem is that Nestle loses valuable HP when I switch him into Wigglytuff. Look, it wasn't a lot of damage, that's for sure, and Nestle can one-shot it with a Sludge Bomb, but every point of HP on a slower Pokemon is valuable, especially when Dash Bun outspeeds and brings our Toxic Dragon below half HP before you can one-shot it as well. Going into the Starmobile with less than green HP is a bit tragic, but Nestle can land at least one massive Sludge Bomb before being taken down to red HP and forced to switch into Tricks, who gets confused and then hits himself in confusion 3 times in a row. Man, my confusion luck lately has just been so awful. I first attempted to switch into Rice Bubbles, but she was nuked by a magical talk, so I quickly re-switched into Wheat Bigs, who handles the Starmobile's attacks like they're nothing. But she isn't able to finish it off, but she did bring it low enough for Oats to come in and end the battle with a little poke of his horns. For the final Titan, I had planned to use Oats to take down the Dondozo phase, which he did with ease. What I didn't plan was for him to be able to handle the Tatsugiri. The Giri just did, like, barely any damage, and with Horn Leech, Oats could heal any damage he took on the turn, eventually getting the KO with the help of Arven and Greedent, making for a very easy final Titan fight. We are now down to one more battle before we can challenge the Elite Four, and it's the final Team Star boss, Eri. My only decent answer to her strong and fast fighting types is Tricks, and she's just a little bit too slow to reliably win us the fight. And you know what that means, it's time for another shiny hunt. My target was everyone's favourite Kalos wrestler, and with a new Mega Form coming out in ZA, it seemed like a perfect addition to the team. My target was her launcher, and as always, it was a massive grind, but alas, we got our boy. Ooh. Oh my god, hello. Whoa. Alright, easy. That's so quick. Okay, I'm losing the naming theme a little bit here, but I named the newest addition Sultana, and Sultana carves up Eri's team. Like, it's not even close. With 0 stat boost, just with his pure natural talent, he's able to one-shot all of Eri's team up till her Starmobile. But it can't really do anything to Sultana, so he's able to get the KO with one more acrobatics, paving the way to the Elite Four. In this adventure, I've gathered some of the best that Kalos has to offer, but I still wanted some more options for this endgame, so I went out to hunt for 2 more shinies. And these were some chubby boys. My favorite type of Pokemon. Ooh. Let's go. Okay, I'm actually going to use Hypnosis. Let's go. He's so cute. No. Oh, he screamed at me. No. Okay, easy. Now I get to go to bed. God, I'm a lucky dog. I was about to quick ball. Oh man, that's embarrassing. Oh! Yes! Oh, finally. Oh my gosh. You were such a pain. God. I think this shiny he's pretty good, no? Look at him, he's a little yellow guy. Was he worth it though? Worth the trouble that I just went through? God, I hope so. Blueberry evolves into Avalugg, who will be super helpful thanks to his massive defense stat, especially with the stupid amount of physical attackers in the upcoming battles. I then evolve Toast into the friendliest pseudo legend ever made, though Dragonite is a close second, but I don't know, I think Shiny Goodra kind of beats Shiny Dragonite. It's just such a beautiful shiny. And with that, I think I'm more than ready to take on the Elite Four. First up in the Elite Four is Rika, and her lead Whiscash is deadly allergic to grass, so Oats quickly drains its life with a Horn Leech. Rika then counters Oats by sending in her Camerupt, so I counter her counter with Milo, who could one-shot the Fire Ground type with a Surf. But he does sadly fall asleep at the end of the turn, thanks to a yawn. So it's back into Oats to take on Rika's Donphan. And Horn Leech is doing great damage, but so is Donphan's Poison Jab, which also gets the poison. Thankfully, Oats can outspeed, and a second Horn Leech does get the KO. Dugtrio is super squishy and can only get off a Sandstorm before Oats gets the clean one-shot. And so Rika is now down to her final Pokemon. Clodsire stalls out a turn with Protect, but with the Sandstorm and Poison damage, Oats is now pretty low, so I decided to play it safe and brought in Cocoa Pops, who can easily KO the Blobfish with a couple of Seed Bombs for an easy first win in the Elite Four. Poppy was looking to be just as easy with her Steel types being melted away by Trix's Flamethrower. Well, except for her Magnezone. As many of you probably know, this Pokemon is always annoying. You can't one-shot it thanks to its sturdy ability, and on its final breath it almost always sets up a light screen, boosting its team's special defense. So with that special defense boost, after KOing Magnezone, I had to switch out for Coco, who should have a better matchup into Tinkaton. And even with super effective play roughs and Terra boosted Gigaton hammers, Coco had Tinkaton's number and tanked everything just to retaliate with 2 Drain Punches for the KO, giving us another very easy Elite Four win. I won't lie, Larry, the third member of the Elite Four, was by far one of the easiest battles in the whole run. Thanks to Protean, Milo's Ice Beam now has the stab bonus, and combine that with a held Expert Belt and it's just an easy sweep as Ice Beam one-shots all of Larry's Pokemon. Such an easy fight, but hey, I'd rather it be easy than we lose Pokemon. Hassel is the final member of the Elite Four before the champion, and his team also has a Milo-shaped hole in its defenses. Milo can one-shot majority of his dragons, so we quickly make it to his Ace Caliber. And I wasn't super confident that Milo could one-shot it, and if he failed to do so, he'd be one-shot himself, so he U-turns out so I can bring in Rice Bubbles, who is immune to the incoming Glaive Rush. Bax does outspeed Rice Bubbles, and it lands a nasty Icicle Crash before being brought down to red HP with Moonblast. So I'm more or less forced to switch into Blueberry, who can use his massive defense stat to tank a Terra boosted Glaive Rush and hit back with an Avalanche for the KO. With Hassel defeated, we are finally onto the fight that will grant us the champion rank. And Milo, the absolute legend, starts off the battle with a clean one-shot onto Geeta's Espathra. He can then get massive chip damage onto Go-Goat with a U-turn, while also switching into Trix, who can finish it off with a Flamethrower. Geeta then weirdly brings out her Avalugg, but its special defense is nowhere near as good as its physical, so Trix can get that cheeky one-shot. Next is her Kingambit, and it is weak to Flamethrower, but they tend to survive that, so I went for the safer play of bringing in Cocoa Pops. And he takes advantage of Kingambit's 4x weakness to fighting type moves with a Drain Punch. Geeta then gives us another free matchup by sending in her Veluza, and it barely survives a Seed Bomb, but I take advantage of this by using Veluza to pivot into Toast. So first I switched into Milo, and then he used U-turn to not only get the KO, but to bring in Toast for free, as Geeta is down to her final Pokemon Glamora. Goodra's special defense stat gives Toast a pretty solid matchup here, but her damage output is lacking, and so Toast can only bring Glamora low, but in turn he's also brought into crit range, so I thought it was probably best to switch into Nestle. But man, he did not tank a Terra Blast well, like, at all. I switch one more time into Milo, who does shake off an Earth Power, and can thankfully outspeed and get the KO with a Surf. And so we become the champions of Paldea, using only shiny Kalos Pokemon. But the run is far from over. Well, far from was probably a bad choice of words, because these next 4 battles were pretty quick. I abuse Honeynut's Superpower and Contrary combo, which basically turns Superpower into one of the most broken moves in the game, doing insane damage while also boosting Honeynut's attack and defense stat, leading to a pretty easy sweep on Clavel's lower end Pokemon. Though for his Skeledirge, it did take a combined effort from Toast, Nestle and Sultana, but it was an easy win overall. Sadly, against Arven, Honeynut gets a bit unlucky and gets paralyzed by Greedent's Body Slam, so she's only able to KO Greedent and Toadstool before switching to Sultana, who can one-shot Scovillain with Acrobatics. Sultana's matchup against Garganacl is less solid, so I send in Coco Pops, who can take it down with a couple of Seed Bombs. Cloyster is next for Arven, and Coco is able to set up a Leech Seed for passive healing, before smashing the Oyster with a nasty Seed Bomb, leaving it on legit 1 HP. I decide to switch into Blueberry, letting the Leech Seed damage finish off Cloyster, and this leaves Blueberry to face off against Arven's Ace. But again, his defense stat is just too OP, tanking a Terra boosted Crunch like it's nothing, and then using that same defense as offense with Body Press, getting an easy OHKO. This brings us to the battle against Penny. This wasn't a clean sweep or anything, but it wasn't hard at all, as Honeynut easily 1v1s Umbreon, but then struggles a bit against Leafeon thanks to a 4x super effective X-Scissor. So I bring in Sultana to finish it off, which in turn brings in Jolteon. But Coco Pops is able to wall all of its attacks while slowly taking it down. Next is Flareon, and I didn't have a great answer, so I just brought in Tricks, which ended up being a great play, as after the Flare Blitz recoil, Psyshock is able to get the KO. Vaporeon is next, and Tricks didn't have a chance here, so I switch back into Coco. And even with an attack drop, Coco can still get the one-shot with Seed Bomb, leaving Penny with her Ace Sylveon. So it's back into Nestle, who can chip it out with a couple of Sludge Bombs, before I send in Tricks, who can finish it off with a Psyshock, winning the battle. And now we're on to what I like to think of as the real champion battle, as it's time for the final Nemona fight. This is when Honeynut's OP superpower comes into play, as she one-shots Lycanroc while gaining a boost to her attack and defense. Pawmot does do a good chunk of damage with close combat, but Psycho Cut in return gets another one-shot. The Dunsparce is third, but it's weak to superpower, so it's obviously another easy OHKO, while getting Honeynut to +2 attack. This +2 is then enough to one-shot Orthworm. Nemona then sends in her Goodra, which is like her only special attacker, so it does get a good hit onto Honeynut, but Honeynut hits back with another one-shot with superpower, leaving Nemona with her Ace Quaquaval. And with her +4 attack, I thought it would be another easy one-shot. Sadly, I was just barely off the mark, as it lives with 3 HP. This isn't a problem though, as Honeynut is now at +5 defense, so Aqua Step isn't able to get the kill, and one more attack defeats the real champion of the region, and thus we're left with one final battle to see if my Kalos Shinies can in fact beat a Scarlet Nuzlocke. Sada is the final boss of the run, and she uses Ancient Pokemon. Ancient or not, however, Slitherwing still has a 4x weakness to flying type attacks, which Sultana abuses with an Acrobatics. This brings in Screamtail, but it only uses physical attacks, so I switch into Blueberry. And even the super effective Drain Punch does barely any damage, so he can heal with Recover, while freely getting the KO with 3 Avalanches. Fluttermane is one of the best special attackers in the game, and Sada's third Pokemon, so I did need to switch. So I bring in Oats onto a Mystical Fire, which was really, stupid. A second Fire brings Oats into the yellow after Hornleech healing, and I was getting ready to let Oats die here for the free switch, but he hangs on with 1 HP and gets the KO with a second Hornleech. Sandy Shocks is a much better matchup for my literal GOAT, but with his low HP, the Shocks is able to outspeed and kill Oats. sorry buddy, that one was definitely my fault. I bring in Coco Pops, who is able to get the KO with 2 Seed Bombs. Brute Bonnet is her penultimate Pokemon, but once again it's a free matchup for Coco Pops, and 2 Drain Punches gets the KO to bring Sada down to her final Pokemon, Roaring Moon. And I thought Blueberry could handle this beast easily. Sadly though, a critical hit from Stone Edge puts a swift end to that plan. Well, plan B it is then. Go get it, Rice Bubbles. She does take massive damage from Earthquake, but is able to push through and fire off a 4-time super effective Moonblast, winning the final battle of the run. And with that, we've beaten a Pokemon Scarlet hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny Kalos Pokemon. This ended up being pretty easy once we got like past level 36, but I still had a lot of fun, and these Kalos shinies look pretty incredible. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the other videos on screen now, especially the Alpha Sapphire shiny only video. It's a banger, or maybe just the video YouTube thinks is best for you. As always, thanks for watching, be kind and stay safe. See you all next time.